Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the following question. How can human activities affect air quality? Lesson objective. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe how human activities impact air quality. Today, you will learn about how human activities impact air quality. Before you read, name three facts you know about how human activities impact air quality. Write two questions you have about how human activities impact air quality, and write an analogy about how human activities impact air quality. First, I know that the plants can prevent dust storms by keeping topsoil in place with their roots. Two, I also know that burning materials creates smoke, which impacts air quality. And three, I know that the Earth has a layer of ozone gas which protects us from ultraviolet radiation. Generating questions. How do I ask good questions? Good questions start with who, what, where, when, why, and how. Brainstorm a list of at least 12 questions about the topic. Here are some question starts to help you generate great thought provoking questions. Let's read them together. Why? What are the reasons? What if? What is the purpose of? How would it be different if? Suppose that. What if we knew? What would change if? So, what kind of questions were you able to create? Were you able to use any of the question stems? Are your questions thought provoking? My first question, I use a question start. Suppose the car exhaust had filters. How would that impact air quality? And two, I also use a question start. How would you reduce the amount of air pollution from factories? And finally, write an analogy about how human activities impact air quality. Air quality index is like a thermometer. The higher the number, the sicker the air. Independent work. Read this slide. Air quality is measurable. The Environment Protection Agency measures the amount of each type of pollutant in the air and rates how clean it is using the air quality index. The air quality index is a system of colors and numbers. The air quality index lets people know the air quality in their region daily. By looking at the color and number, people can know how safe or polluted the air is on any given day. The lower the number, the cleaner the air is. If the number is higher than 100, outdoor activities should be limited. The EPA provides information about air quality online. You can also find the air quality index in the local newspaper. Sometimes people can find out the air quality index on the local news when meteorologists talk about the weather. Air quality index, AQI numbers. 0 to 50 is green, 51 to 100 is yellow, 101 to 150 is orange, 151 to 200 is red, 201 to 300 is purple, and 301 to 500 is maroon, usually not shown. Green indicates good air quality. Dark maroon indicates hazardous air quality. The orange range is unhealthy for sensitive groups, such as people with lung disease or other breathing problems. People can reduce air pollution. The best way to reduce air pollution is to prevent more pollutants from getting into the air. Limiting car fumes, fires, and factory emissions can make a big difference in air quality. Scrubbers. One way to keep chemicals out of the air is by putting filters over or in smokestacks. These filters are called scrubbers. They scrub the air, removing chemicals and materials such as ash. The air that is released from the smokestack of the factory contains water vapor and a small amount of pollutants. Scrubbers can remove up to 90% of pollutants before they get released into the air. One drawback of scrubbers is their high cost. Clean energy. Another way to improve air quality is to use clean energy. You may have heard the term clean energy. Clean energy is a source of energy that does not release pollutants when it is used. A clean energy source that people use more and more is solar energy. Solar energy comes from the sun. People in many places around the world now use solar panels to capture light from the sun and turn it into energy. Another clean energy source is wind. In windy places, people build wind turbines to capture energy from the sun, from the wind, and turn it into electrical power. Using more clean energy sources helps reduce the amount of pollutants that enter our atmosphere. By replacing non-renewable energy with clean energy, people prevent pollutants from entering the air. After reading, name three new facts you know about how human activities impact air quality. Well, what were three new facts that you were able to identify from after your reading? Well, first, I discovered that the text states air quality index is a system of colors and numbers. Knowing the quality of air could be helpful to people with asthma. I also learned that the text states the factories that install scrubbers on smokestacks release water vapor and a small amount of pollutants. And I also learned the text states that using renewable energy may, quote, reduce the amount of pollutants that enter our atmosphere, end quote. Now, did you find answers to either of your two questions in the reading and use text evidence to support your answer? So let's go back to the reading and find my answers to the questions that I had earlier. So my first question was, suppose that car exhausts had filters. How would that impact quality, air quality? And two, how would you reduce the amount of air pollution from factories? Well, this slide here explains that limiting car exhaust fumes, fires, and factory emissions can make a big difference in air quality. One way to keep chemicals out of the air is by putting filters over or in smokestacks. So, from here, I can make an inference that if car exhausts had filters on them, they would also release less pollutants. The text states that installing filters on exhausts can help reduce pollutants in the air. One way to keep chemicals out of the air is by putting filters over or in smokestacks. These filters are called scrubbers. They scrub the air, removing chemicals and materials such as ash. The air that is released from the smokestack of the factory contains water vapor and a small amount of pollutants. So this answers my second question of how can factories reduce pollution. The text states that installing scrubbers on the smokestacks can reduce the amount of toxins in the air. The released air, quote, contains water vapor and a small amount of pollutants, end quote. Now write a new analogy about how human activities impact air quality. Scrubbers are like plant leaves. They absorb pollutants. Thanks for watching. See you next time.